We are ready, and I'm just going to have the Real Estate Commission talk again because I think this is a topic that just keeps reappearing, and there's so many reasons for that. I'm going to say a couple of things first and foremost. It's customary for a seller right here in the local area where I am, which is Southern California, for a seller to pay the real estate commissions for the buyer and seller agent, right? The listing and buyer agent, buyer and seller agent. What are those words? What does that mean in regular old terms? If there's two agents, both agents need to get paid because they're no different than anyone else who does work. They need to get paid, right? So who determines who gets paid? Well, really, it's customary, air quotes for you. It's customary that the seller does it. And the reality is you can do it any way you choose, Mr. Seller, because you are the one who negotiates your contract. So when everyone's saying, oh, the seller's been bamboozled, or, the seller didn't understand, or the seller sets the terms of the contract. An agent shows up and suggests what is customary. It doesn't mean it has to be. It's called the art of negotiating. That's all there is to it. Okay. And I just find it super interesting that people are putting it on the realtor. Yes, the realtor is the real estate professional who's the license to do the work. And they're going to tell you traditionally how the work is done. But hey, sellers, buyers, it's all up to you on what actually happens. We just do the work and we put it in the contract and we make recommendations. They're called recommendations. That's all they're called. So when you're saying, I didn't know this or I didn't understand it, well, clearly, it was not communicated to you in such a way that let you understand you were in charge, because we work for you. We just show up and make sure that our fiduciary duty is done for you and is ethical and truthful. And we generally just do it how we've been customarily doing it. Doesn't mean we have to do it that way, right? I'm looking here referencing this Market Watch article that was just recently published, right? And they were talking about how, again, the National Association of Realtors lost a $1.8 billion lawsuit brought by 500,000 home sellers in Missouri and some of the border towns. Okay, look, 500 home sellers didn't understand their contract? What's going on, Missouri? I mean, I hear it's a cool place to live, and yet 500,000 of you didn't understand the contract you signed? How can that be? How can it be that you could choose to say, well, let's sue the National Association of Realtors? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. 500,000 of you. So someone's doing something wrong in Missouri. It's either the real estate board's doing something wrong, or the sellers are drinking some kind of water that makes them not understand the contracts that they sign and they read. Or did you not read it? I don't know. I'm just wondering because, well, I guess you just aren't going to like what I have to say, because I think you all get it, right? We get it. I don't know what Missouri's rules and laws are because I'm not licensed there, but I do know here in California, and I do know when I sit down with a seller and the seller says, well, Lori, what am I going to net? Lori, what is this going to cost me? I tell them how much it costs to be in business with me personally, because I know my worth. I know my value. I know that if I show up and I help you get a property sold, rented, leased, whatever you need, then I'm going to get you exactly what I said I was going to get you, and I'm going to get you more, because that's how long I've been doing this. And that's what I do. I'm confident because I look at my stats. I know where I'm at. I'm 97% accurate. I am not 100% perfect. No one is. And yet I am 97% accurate because I've reviewed my stats. I know my list price to my sales price. I'm going to tell you that I met with some clients just recently, and I thought this was really interesting. This is what they said. They said, oh my gosh, we got over 50 calls on our rental property. Lori, do you think we rented it too low? And I said, yes. I said, if you would have had hired me to do it, I would have leased it for $300 more than you currently signed a contract for with someone because you chose to do it by yourself because you were saving money. But let's think about that. $300 over 12 months. Well, Nolan, that's $3,600, right? Yes, $3,600. And it would have cost you, well, let me do the math here. Had you hired me, okay, let me just do the math. So 2,700 times 12 times 6% for this particular deal, it would have cost you $1,944 to hire me, but I would have net you $3,600 more. So really, if you deduct what I cost, you would have made $1,700 more because you hired me. Because I wouldn't have let that happen. And I'm not perfect. Again, I told you there's a 3%. And yet I know what happens. And I would have made the recommendations and the suggestions to correct the problem had I gotten a response like that. And I would have been able to negotiate something better for you. So did you really save money? No, you didn't, right? I'm just looking at this article here in Market Watch, and it says, hey, it could be years before real estate agents lower their fees, if ever. For now, here are two ways when selling a home to save yourself money. Okay, well, this is interesting, right? For sell by owner. That is one way of saving yourself money. It is one way, or at least you think so. But again, you want to save yourself money. So you go, okay, well, I believe my property is worth this because of whatever reason. And maybe you've sold 50 properties for sell by owner. Then I'd say maybe you are going to save yourself money because you obviously know what you're doing. You could compete with me. Right? But I think you've probably sold maybe 1 to 3 to maybe 10 houses in your lifetime, where I've helped over 750 plus families in the 18 years I've been in business. And I haven't had any one of those families come back to me and say, you sold it for too little, Lori. Or Lori, you cost me too much money. Now, again, I'm not perfect. I do have some buyers that are complaining. And they weren't because they were my clients. It was because they were someone else's clients. They were not my clients. I do my best to go back in and check with our clients to make sure we are getting results that make our clients have the win experience they're looking for. And then we do our best to make sure that the other side also has a win so that we line up a win-win, right? So yeah, I guess you could for sale by owner. You sure could. It makes sense. And you'll definitely save money, right? Or you'll save at least a little bit of money, because you'll get one agent to do the deal for less money because they didn't do any marketing. They didn't have to do any of the other stuff, right? They just had to keep the deal together in escrow. And let me tell you, that's hard. It's really challenging, right? Then their other suggestion in here, I like this, is discount brokerages. I'm wondering in Missouri, is there not any discount brokerages? Because 500,000 sellers went after a bunch of realtors who are just working like you. We're just working. That's all we're doing. We're doing our job. We're doing the best we can with what we have in a market that is severely depressed, in a market that has no inventory, has high interest rates. And you know what? We're working just as hard as you are out there. And we're giving a ton of money, just like you, to the government, to our employer. So I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm overpaid. And I don't feel as if I've done an injustice. I believe and I trust and I know that my clients are confident and happy to pay me what they've paid me. And many of them have said over and over again, I'd pay you more, Lori. So look, guys, this real estate commissions deal, it can continue to keep going and going and going and going. There is a listing agent, there is a buyer's agent, and they need to get paid. Who chooses to pay them is what the contract says. So understand your contract, read it. Clearly be sure that the agent takes the time to explain it to you. And if you don't understand, ask to talk to the broker or go see a real estate attorney. That's the reality of it. If you don't get it, ask for help so that the help is given to you. Because I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to cheer on every one of our agents out there. They bust their butts. They work really hard. They do everything they can to help a buyer and seller win. And they walk away lots of times without any pay. Because that's just how real estate, unfortunately, is. So it's not about how much we get paid. It's not about who's paying us. It's let's have a little gratitude and be grateful and thankful that we all have the ability to share and win together. Because there's lots of transactions out there that I've adjusted for because the seller couldn't win or the buyer couldn't win, and I knew this would help them. And so, you know, in the state of California, we can't give you money. We are not allowed to give you cash. We're not allowed to say, here you go. Let me hand over my money to you. We can give credits in escrow, all legit, to help close a transaction. But no, you can't go stand behind the barn and give $1,000, $5,000, $6,000. You can't do that. It just doesn't work like that. I don't know if it happens. It doesn't happen with me. That's what I know. What still is unbelievable is the fact that 500,000 sellers really didn't understand their contract. I can't imagine that. That says a lot in leaps and bounds. Our realtors work hard. They deserve their pay, and they deserve to be paid. And the consumer out there is the one who's paying. So let's make sure realtors, they understand why they're paying us. Let's bring the wealth that we are, the wisdom that we offer, the experience, the numerous transactions we've done, and we can say, whew, we went through that once. You don't want to go there. That is priceless. That is what makes an agent so valuable beyond words. I mean, I have so many clients that I've helped over and over and over and over again. And I don't see any of them saying, hey, can I pay you less? No, they say, Lori, go ahead and take care of business. Because they know we're going to win together. It's not about taking advantage of people. It's not about smacking them over the head and saying, hey, you didn't get your contract. That's not what it's about. What this is about is someone pays us, and it's what the contract says. So consumer, Read your contract, understand it, and if you don't, ask for help so that the agent can clearly communicate it to you. And if the agent can't, ask the broker. And if the broker can't, hire a real estate attorney, but have someone advise you on what you're signing so that you get it. 500,000 home sellers in Missouri didn't get it. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Buyers, if this continues, you'll probably be paying for your buyer's representation. There's nothing wrong with that because you're going to find that your buyer's agents are priceless. They bust their butts all day long, running around, running, looking for house to house to house to house, writing contracts, talking to people, working all kinds of hours just so you can get your home. They are priceless. So if it continues and the world changes in real estate and, well, you're going to have to pay, they're priceless. Sellers paying for the agents, they're priceless. And if they aren't doing the work, then fire them. You have the right, and find someone who is worth the money because those agents are out there. Hold them accountable to it and know that they're there to service you, to help you win. It's just what's happening right now today in the state of California. And if you don't believe me, well, verify with the licensed professional of your choice, because that's what you should do in all circumstances when you're doing California real estate.